Welcome to today's Catholic Daily Readings from Christus Dominus Bread of Life. A reading from the first book of Kings. Then all those greater by birth of Israel, with the leaders of the tribes and the rulers of the families of the sons of Israel, gathered together before King Solomon at Jerusalem, so that they might carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord from the city of David, that is, from Zion. And all of Israel assembled before King Solomon on the solemn day in the month of Ethanim, which is the 7th month. And all the elders of Israel arrived, and the priests took up the ark. And they carried the ark of the Lord, and the tabernacle of the covenant, and all the vessels of the sanctuary, which were in the tabernacle, and the priests and the Levites carried these. Then King Solomon and the entire multitude of Israel, who had assembled before him, advanced with him before the ark. And they immolated sheep and oxen, which could not be numbered or estimated. And the priests brought in the ark of the covenant of the Lord to its place, into the oracle of the temple, in the Holy of Holies, under the wings of the cherubim. For indeed, the cherubim extended their wings over the place of the ark, and they protected the ark and its bars from above. Now inside the ark there was nothing other than the 2 tablets of stone, which Moses had placed in it at Horeb, when the Lord formed a covenant with the sons of Israel, when they departed from the land of Egypt. Then it happened that, when the priests had exited from the sanctuary, a cloud filled the house of the Lord. And the priests were unable to stand and minister because of the cloud, for the glory of the Lord had filled the house of the Lord. Then Solomon said, "The Lord has said that he would dwell in a cloud. Building, I have built a house as your dwelling place, your most firm throne forever."
We carry you through dust and years. We would not rest until you do. We heard of it in Ephrathah, we found it in the fields of Jah. We lifted wood and gold and stone and followed where your presence led. To the place of rest. To the place of your rest. Let us enter into your dwelling. Let us fall before your footstool. Hands to the ground, voices low, waiting for the weight to fall. To the place of your rest. Lord, go up to the place of your rest. Advance, O Lord, to your resting place. You and the ark of your majesty. Lord, your priest with justice. Let your faithful shout for joy. The clock comes down. The work stops. No one knows. For the sake of David, your servant, reject not the plea of your anointed. You cannot be contained. Yeah, you choose
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. And when they had crossed over, they arrived in the land of Gennesaret, and they reached the shore. And when they had disembarked from the boat, the people immediately recognized him. And running throughout that entire region, they began to carry on beds those who had maladies, to where they heard that he would be. And in whichever place he entered, in towns or villages or cities, they placed the infirm in the main streets, and they pleaded with him that they might touch even the hem of his garment. And as many as touched him were made healthy. Join us for today's reflection. When the priests came out of the holy place, the cloud filled the house of the Lord so that the priests could not continue ministering because of the cloud, for the glory of the Lord filled the house of the Lord. They could not keep working. The glory was too thick, too heavy, too present. Whatever liturgical tasks they had planned, whatever ceremonial duties awaited them, all of it had to stop. God had showed up, and when God shows up that completely, you do not keep going through the motions. You stand still, you take off your shoes, you wait. This is one of the most extraordinary moments in the entire Old Testament. Solomon had built the temple over 7 years. Every detail had been attended to. The cedar from Lebanon, the gold overlay, the carved cherubim with their outstretched wings, the bronze pillars, the great sea resting on 12 oxen, all of it designed to be worthy of the God of Israel. And now the Ark of the Covenant was being carried into the innermost sanctuary, the most holy place, to rest beneath those golden wings. The Ark contained only 2 things by this point: the stone tablets that Moses had placed there at Horeb, the tablets of the covenant, the words God had written with his own finger, nothing else. The jar of manna and Aaron's rod that had once been there were gone, but the words remained, the covenant remained. And when the ark found its resting place, when it settled beneath the cherubim in that inner darkness, God responded. The cloud filled the temple. The glory was so overwhelming that trained priests who had spent their lives preparing for this moment could not stand to minister. Solomon understood what was happening. The Lord said he would dwell in the dark cloud. This was the same presence that had led Israel through the wilderness, the same glory that had descended on Sinai, the same cloud that had filled the tabernacle when Moses dedicated it. God was taking up residence. God was coming home. Solomon spoke words that still echo through the centuries. I have surely built you an exalted house, a place for you to dwell in forever. Forever. Solomon meant it. This was supposed to be permanent. No more wandering, no more portable tent. God had a house now, a magnificent house, a house of stone and gold that would stand through the generations. But here is the tension that runs through this entire story. Solomon knew, even as he spoke those words, that no house could actually contain God. Later in his prayer, he would say it plainly. Behold, heaven and the highest heaven cannot contain you. How much less this house that I have built. The God who fills the universe cannot be confined to a building, no matter how magnificent. The cloud was not God imprisoned in a box. The cloud was God choosing to be present in a particular place among a particular people. That is the mystery. God does not need a dwelling place. God is everywhere, and yet God chooses to dwell. God picks a spot. God says here, in this place I will meet you. Come to this place and you will find me. The psalm captures David's earlier longing for exactly this. Before Solomon built the temple, David had burned with desire to find a dwelling place for the mighty one of Jacob. He could not rest until the ark found rest. They had heard of it in Ephrathah. They had found it in the fields of Jaar, where it had sat for years in the house of Abinadab after the Philistines returned it. David was the one who finally brought it to Jerusalem. Let us go into his dwelling. Let us worship at his footstool. Arise, Lord, come to your resting place. God resting, God dwelling, the creator of all things choosing a particular spot to call home. Now look at the gospel. Jesus and the disciples landed at Gennesaret after crossing the sea. As soon as they stepped out of the boat, people recognized him. Word spread instantly. They ran through the whole region carrying the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. Wherever he went, villages or cities or countryside, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might touch even the fringe of his cloak, and all who touched it were healed. The fringe of his cloak, the tassels that Jewish men wore to remind them of the commandments, the edge of his garment. They were not asking for an audience with a king. They were not requesting a formal healing ceremony. They just wanted to touch the edge of his clothes, just the fringe, just that much contact with whoever he was, and it worked. All who touched it were healed. Do you see what is happening here? The same God whose glory filled Solomon's temple so completely that the priests could not stand, that same God was now walking through Galilean villages in human flesh. The glory that once required a magnificent house of cedar and gold was now contained in a Jewish carpenter from Nazareth. The presence that had needed a holy of holies with golden cherubim was now accessible to anyone who could push through a crowd and touch the corner of a traveling rabbi's cloak. The temple was not abolished. Jesus would weep over Jerusalem and its temple. He would cleanse it with righteous anger. He called it his Father's house, but something had changed. The dwelling place of God was no longer a building. The dwelling place of God was a person, and the fringe of his garment held more power than the entire temple complex. This is the scandal of the incarnation. God, who cannot be contained by the highest heaven, chose to be contained in human flesh. God, who fills all things, chose to walk on 2 feet through dusty villages, getting tired, getting hungry, sleeping in boats during storms. The cloud of glory that stopped the priests in their tracks was now being touched by desperate strangers in marketplaces. They brought their sick on mats, they laid them in the streets, they begged for just a touch, and Jesus did not refuse them. He did not build walls or establish protocols. He let them come, he let them touch, he healed them all. The temple taught Israel that God was approachable, that there was a place you could go to meet the Almighty. Jesus taught the world that God had come even closer. You did not have to travel to Jerusalem anymore. You did not need priests to intercede. You could reach out your hand and touch the hem of his garment. And now, after resurrection and ascension, where does God dwell? Paul would later tell the Corinthians that their bodies were temples of the Holy Spirit. The dwelling place of God has moved again. First a tabernacle in the wilderness, then a temple in Jerusalem, then a human body in Galilee, and now every person who belongs to Christ. The glory that filled Solomon's temple now fills ordinary believers. The presence that stopped the priests now lives in you. You are the place where God has chosen to dwell. You are the resting place of the Almighty. The cloud of glory is not somewhere out there. It is within you, closer than your own breath. What would change if you actually believed that? What would change if you treated your body, your mind, your heart as the place where the glory of God now resides? Solomon built a house and God moved in. Jesus walked through Galilee and God was present in his every step. And now God has taken up residence in you, the same God, the same glory, the same presence. Arise, Lord, and come to your resting place. He already has, you are it.